Ever woken up feeling like you are alone, dealing with life all by yourself, even though God said He will never leave nor forsake you, He will never abandon you? It just feels like whenever you call on Him, He doesn't answer. You run to Him in your time of need, in your time of challenges, in your time of difficulty, and it just feels like He's silent. Ever felt that way? Then you're in good company, because I've been there quite a good number of times. And that's the reason why today I'm talking about how to approach God in order to get answers in your time of need. We all have difficult times. We all go through challenges. And yes, it is a fact. God is the ultimate problem solver. He's the master fixer. He has answers to everything. The question is, when we approach Him, is He really silent? Is He really silent? Does He really abandon us in our time of need? Does He really leave us hanging? Is it true that He sees us in challenges and difficulty, and He has said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, I will give you rest"? Yet He sees us in that difficult situation, then He just leaves us. I don't think so. Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is EmmySpeaks and I am Emmy. This is a home of inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. So whenever you're feeling low, defeated, or challenged in any way, stop by my channel and hopefully some of the content might encourage you and help you out of a place of hopelessness to a place where you are just feeling bright and happier, because this is also a home of fun, entertainment, and lots of smiles. Now, if you're new here, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so every week when I post a new content, you will be notified. Today, we're talking about how to actually approach God when you are faced with diverse challenges. I was meditating this morning on Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. You know, where He says that unless you become like a child, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. I've been reading this portion of the Bible, but this morning it got me different. I started thinking about my life as a child. And one of the things that I vividly remembered was the fact that as a child, I was really curious and inquisitive. I could ask questions from morning till night. Oh, wait, now I see where my daughter gets that from. Well, by the way, yes, as a child, I was that way. But the other interesting thing about being curious and inquisitive as a child is the fact that whenever I'm unsure or I bump into a situation where I don't have answers to, I don't try to figure it out. All I try to do is run to an adult. I'm either running to my mom, my aunties, my uncles, my senior siblings, and I'm looking for answers. What's this? Why is this color like this? What's happening to this? Why is mommy crying? Why is this thing happening to this person? Why are you sad? Why have you not eaten? Saying it out loud, I think I was annoying as a child. All of that was because I did not have the answers, right? I couldn't answer those questions. So what did I do? I ran to adults. Now, whenever I run to an adult as a child asking for an answer, whatever answer the adult gives sticks with me. And it takes a lot to take it out of me. Fast forward to adulthood. Do I still ask questions? Yes. There's a difference. The difference is asking questions as an adult, I'm not clueless. I'm not ignorant. I'm not totally empty. I am actually having different answers, and probably this time around, I'm just looking for perspective. And then it occurred to me that most often that is how we approach God. Guilty number one. I'm faced with a difficult situation. I go to God in prayers because growing up as a good Christian girl, I was taught to take it to the Lord in prayers. So yes, I take it to the Lord in prayers, but taking it to the Lord in prayers, my container is already filled with worry, filled with anxiety, filled with panic, filled with 10 different options. Yet I'm going to God and expecting answers. The question is, with an already filled container, what am I expecting to get? As a child, asking questions. I was really empty. My container was empty. So there was room for the answers to set in. There was room for the answers to make sense and sink in, and I'm growing with them. But as an adult, because of life and everything, my containers are already filled. The tricky thing about approaching God like that is God is always speaking. He's always looking for ways to give us direction, to give us clarity, to give us the answers that we need. He's always available. So when he says, come to me, it's because he's always there. The challenge is we come to him already filled. We come to him with no room to receiving from him. So we're standing in front of him. He has the answers to give, but nowhere to put it. We stand in front of him. We look like we actually need the answers, but we haven't made room for the answers to come in. So he's holding the answers. He's holding the clarity. He's holding the direction. But where does he put it? So this morning while I was meditating on that scripture, I'm like, how do you approach God as a child? You approach God as a child being so empty, emptying yourself, just being vulnerable, not trying to be smart. We live in a society where everyone is trying to be smart. Everyone is trying to figure it out. Yes, Christ has been made for us the wisdom of God. But do we understand when to apply the wisdom? We take this wisdom and we try to apply it with God. So it feels like going to God now is just to maybe present to him, okay, I have this problem. So this thing has happened to me. I think that if we do this, it can actually work. What do you think? Yeah, that's what it looks like sometimes when we go to God with an already filled container. It's like trying to negotiate. We are going to argue that the Bible says that an heir, as long as he's a child, he's no different from a servant. Approaching God as a child is different from being a child. As a Christian, the Lord calls you to maturity, and that's why he's teaching you these things. But then when it comes to your relationship with God, he requires a level of surrender, a level of vulnerability, and that only comes when you have a childlike heart. So approaching God as a child does not mean that you become a baby. You now remain as a baby Christian because you now want to approach God. You now want to have a relationship with God. That's not what it means. It's a posture of your heart. What is the posture of your heart when you're going to God? Is it that I already know this thing? I think I already have an idea of how to solve this, but let me just go to God and hear what God has to say. That's pride right there. And that's not a childlike heart. A childlike heart is the one that acknowledges that I don't know it. I'm clueless. And so I'm running to my Father because he has all the answers. It's saying that I don't know, but God knows. And that's a childlike heart. And when I was thinking about what are some of the benefits of approaching God as a child, the first thing that came to mind was the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who is in heaven, our Father. So the way he is your Father is if you are a child. If you are not a child, he's not your Father. So approaching God, first of all, as a child is acknowledging that he is Father. So there's a way that it just seals the relationship. And that's a starting point. First things first. Our Father, before you go and start asking for daily bread and forgiveness and all of that, there's our Father first. And the only way he is your Father is if you are a child. So approaching him as a child is what seals the relationship of father and child. Oh, when I thought about it, it's something it just did on the inside of me. He is our Father, but can you just be a child? Because for that relationship to be sealed, you need to be a child. For the father and child relationship to be established, if he's a father and you're trying to be a father, it can't work. The relationship only works when you are a child, then he is the Father. So the first advantage is that it establishes and seals the father-son relationship, and son is not male, please. Father-son relationship, son is me because I am the son of God, So yes, it establishes and seals that relationship. The second thing that came to mind is that it builds trust and dependence. Whenever a child is running to the parent to ask a question, it's because they are sure that the parent has the answers that they need. Like, my son is outside playing with his friends, and all of a sudden he's running upstairs, mommy, 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 what? To ask a question. Probably they've discussed about something. He's unsure, but he knows that I have the answers. So what happens? He runs to me and he asks. So there's a level of trust that gives you and dependence on God. It's like, I'm not sure about what these other people are saying, but you know what? I can run to my mom and my mom will give me the answer. So approaching God as a child builds trust and dependence on God. It's you saying that I don't know it, but God knows it. I can't figure it out, but God can figure it out. I can't fix it, but God is the master fixer. So I'm running to the one who is able to fix it when I can't. So it's a two-way thing. It's not just saying that I can't do this. It's also saying that I can't do it, yes, but God can. So it's establishing a level of dependence. If you just acknowledge I can't do it, it doesn't really complete the circle. It is only completed when it goes up to I can't, but God can. You see that? I can handle this thing, but God can. So guess what? I'm running to him. That's beautiful. Another thing that came to mind while I was thinking of it is approaching God as a child helps you to focus on the present moment. The heart of a child is so beautiful. I look at my kids. 1 minute, they are sad about this thing. The next minute, it's as though nothing happened. And so approaching God as a child takes away that weight of the past. It helps you to dwell in the moment. It helps you to enjoy everything that he's presenting to you now. He's telling you, you are my beloved. He's telling you, I love you. But you're finding it hard to believe because you're holding on to the times when you needed him to be your beloved and he wasn't there. And you're holding on to all these so many things that happened in the past. This thing happened to me one time where I received a prophetic word. God was saying all these things, promising me all of that, but my heart was not there. Fortunately, I recorded that word. My heart was not believing all of those things. Why? Because I experienced disappointments in the past. As a result, I found it hard to believe that these promises will come to pass. Sometime later, when I had dealt with some of those things, I went back to listen to that prophetic word and I could actually believe the promise. But at that moment, I could not believe it because I was held back by the past. Approaching God as a child helps you to savor the beauty of the present moment you have with God. It helps you to even receive the promises with which you're going to anchor on. The promises of God is what sustains you, keeps you going, even though life seems difficult. But sometimes we find it hard to even believe the promises, talk less of holding it firm because we are stuck on the past. And so when you approach God as a child, you are able to just receive these promises, like fresh wine, savor it, enjoy the beauty of it, and even hope for it because you believe it. I encourage you to just look back at how you've been approaching God in times where you felt defeated, in times of difficulty, in the times where you felt like your back was against the wall. Have you been approaching God as a child? Or have you been approaching God with a very full cup, full of doubt, worry, fear, anxiety, panic, and even proposed solutions? Now remember that approaching God as a child is not similar to being childish. It's not a replacement for personal responsibility or critical thinking. It's room for surrender. There is a place for maturity as a son of God, but there is also a place where in humility, you approach God in full and absolute surrender. It's God's heart that whenever we approach him in our times of difficulty, he gives us answers. We go back with answers and solutions. But that depends on us. How we approach him is going to determine how we are going to live. I hope that this has encouraged you because it encouraged me this morning. And I hope that moving forward, you're going to think about the state of your heart every time when you approach God. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching, please give a thumbs up to this video. And also don't forget to leave a comment so that I get to know your thoughts about this topic. I'll see you on my next video. In the meantime, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and stay inspired. Remember, I am Emmy, and when Emmy speaks, she speaks to the world. Are you listening?